Have you ever wondered what happens when someone points the finger at your design work and claims it caused a construction defect? In this video, I'll show you what construction defect claims are, how they can impact your projects, and 3 key steps you can take to protect yourself before problems appear. Hi, I'm attorney Alex Bell. For over a decade, my partners and I have helped architects, engineers, and builders protect their work and manage legal risk at every stage of a project. If you're facing a construction or design dispute and need guidance, please reach out to us at 214-241-4808 or visit us at zgblaw.com. Let me start by explaining what construction defect claims really are. A construction defect claim happens when someone claims your design work or construction work caused a building problem. This could be water intrusion, structural issues, HVAC failures, or any building system that doesn't perform as it's expected to. Here's what makes these claims particularly challenging. The plaintiff doesn't need to prove you made a mistake to drag you into expensive litigation. In many construction defect cases, the burden shifts to you as a design professional. You almost have to prove that you did everything correctly. That's not how it's supposed to be, but that's how jurors and judges have begun to treat it in our modern world. The reality is that claims can occur from various situations. Sometimes it's a miscommunication about design intent. Other times, it's missing documentation that makes it difficult to reconstruct what happened during the construction project. Occasionally, there are strategic lawsuits designed primarily to pressure settlements. Maybe an owner or a contractor has gone over budget and they simply see your insurance policy as another place to recoup some funds. Even changes in building codes can create questions about past work. The construction industry tends to operate on shared liability. When something goes wrong, owners typically sue contractors, contractors then bring in subcontractors, and they inevitably point the finger at design professionals instead of their own work. Everyone looks to design professionals because they often carry significant insurance coverage. But here's what creates most problems for design professionals in litigation. The biggest challenge isn't usually the technical issue itself. It's being unprepared when claims appear. Without proper documentation from your design process, your CA, your internal meetings, your owner-architect meetings, you're defending your professional decisions without the evidence needed to support your position. Consider 2 architects who design similar office buildings. Both face water intrusion lawsuits 2 years later for alleged design defects in the building envelope. The first architect maintained comprehensive documentation about its design decisions, specifications, and contractor communications. They were all recorded. That client spends $30,000 defending successfully in 6 months. The second client kept standard documentation but lacked detailed records. That client couldn't prove contractors followed the specifications when it had observed deficiencies in the field. There was no record that the issues were corrected. This case cost significantly more in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees, plus a large settlement. Documentation quality made a 15-fold difference in client costs in some cases. What this shows is that documentation quality directly affects litigation outcomes. Complete records provide the foundation for defending your professional decisions. The difference between manageable legal expense and a career or company-threatening situation often depend on what you can prove rather than what actually happened. Documentation takes time and resources. You already create drawings and specifications, but litigation requires more detailed records than typical project documentation in some instances. You need design narratives that explain your decision-making process. You need to be able to show where you gave the owner or contractor choices and that they chose the specific system or product to use. Correspondence files that capture all significant communications and meeting notes that document important discussions and decisions are all critical. When possible, consider having critical designs reviewed by specialized consultants. Building envelope specialists understand the technical challenges specific to your project type. Their review reports serve 2 purposes. They help identify potential issues during design, and they provide expert opinions that support your design decisions if claims appear later. The key is creating a clear record of your professional judgment. When you specify a material, document why you selected it over alternatives. When you approve substitutions, record your analysis. When contractors request clarifications, respond in writing and keep copies. Project photography during construction phases can be invaluable, but it has to be done strategically or else it creates additional problems. You should document critical installation work, show compliance with your specifications, and document document other important things from your site observation reports. These images often become crucial evidence years later when memories fade and details become disputed. This may feel like additional work because it is, but the investment in proper documentation and systems typically pays for itself in avoided claims. Spending several $1,000s on enhanced documentation and review processes can prevent legal costs that often exceed $100,000 or more in many cases. But even well-documented projects face challenges that catch professionals off guard. Material selection creates long-term liability exposure that extends well beyond the design phase. The wrong material choice doesn't just risk project performance, it creates potential legal issues that can surface years after completion. Your responsibility for materials extends beyond simply meeting code requirements. Courts evaluate design professionals based on the standard of care expected from qualified practitioners doing the same kind of work in your geographic location. This includes understanding how materials perform under local environments, conditions, and their compatibility with other building systems. It also includes their durability over time. If the owner has asked you to make sure the building or system lasts for a certain amount of time, you need to select products that can meet those contractual requirements. The important takeaway is that material selection decisions have long-term consequences. Every specification choice you make today could become relevant in future litigation. Understanding local conditions and documenting your decision process provides protection when issues appear later. Building codes are important, but building codes merely establish minimum requirements, not necessarily best practices for all conditions or the right conditions for your project. Your professional judgment as a design professional should account for local climate conditions and characteristics and building usage patterns. What performs well in one region may not be appropriate for a different region and their environmental conditions. Here's an aspect that many professionals underestimate. You retain responsibility for proper material installation throughout the construction process, depending upon the construction administrative services you've agreed to provide. This responsibility continues until the project is completed and accepted. If you've documented deficiencies in your file, you need to have a process for ensuring that they're remedied. Otherwise, an owner may look to you if a contractor hasn't repaired something that you've noted or observed in a field report. Including detailed installation guidelines directly from manufacturers is another way that you can help with this process. Contractors should, but may not always, locate these documents independently. Include installation requirements in your project specifications where it's possible to do so. Require written confirmation that installers understand the requirements and have appropriate training. Following manufacturer installation guidelines creates a defensible position if performance issues appear. Courts typically recognize manufacturer specifications as industry standards for installing a certain product. When installation deviates from these standards, you have documents to support your design decisions. Staying engaged during construction is also important for liability protections. Regular site observations during critical installation phases help ensure compliance with your drawings and specifications. Make sure that you understand your CA scope and that you're doing what is required. Document what you observe and make sure that you communicate any deficiencies that you observe to the owner and/or the contractor, depending on your agreement. You should also photograph proper installations or key things that you think you may need to look at later. Address deviations promptly. When you identify installation problems, document them clearly and require corrections. Don't approve work that doesn't meet your specifications, and don't approve work unless you're required to approve work. Voluntarily undertaking that obligation can sometimes impose liability where it would not otherwise exist. Your acceptance of substantial completion can be evidence that you approved a deviation, so you have to be careful when you're doing those kinds of final approvals and look carefully at your contract language. But there's a critical misconception that creates problems years after project completion. Many design professionals believe their legal exposure ends when a project warranty expires. This misunderstanding has contributed to significant legal problems for practitioners who thought they were protected from future claims but really weren't. The reality is that warranty periods and legal liability timelines operate independently. Understanding this difference is essential for long-term risk management. Every jurisdiction is different, and you need to consult with lawyers like us to make sure that you understand the legal timelines during which claims can be. As another example, consider two mechanical contractors who've installed HVAC systems and provide 2-year warranties. Installer A reaches his statute of repose and learns potential claims could appear for 8 years beyond his warranty period. He maintains detailed records for the full period. Installer B assumes protection ends when warranty expires and destroys all his files after 4 years. 7 years later, both Installer A and Installer B face lawsuits alleging deficiencies with the installation of their HVAC work because problems have arisen in the building. Installer A's comprehensive documentation and structured warranty terms help limit exposure. His case resolves for much less and much faster. Installer B lacks records and faces broader liability. This costs more in legal fees and more to settle. Poor preparation resulted in significantly more in expense and settlement costs. What this shows is that warranty periods and legal deadlines follow different schedules. Understanding these timelines prevents costly surprises years after your risks have ended. Project warranties typically run 1 to 2 years after substantial completion. However, state statute of repose can extend potential liability for 8 or 10 years or longer depending on the jurisdiction. Each state has different rules governing these limitation periods. Texas statutes differ from Arizona requirements. Some states have separate timelines for different types of defects or damages, or differences depending on whether it's a private project or a government project. You need to understand the specific rules for each jurisdiction you practice, and also for each different kind of project, whether it be government or private. Standard warranty language often creates more liability exposure than necessary. Many template warranties or warranty terms contain broad terminology and phrasing that courts interpret against design professionals and installers. Working with qualified legal counsel to structure appropriate warranty language helps limit your exposure while meeting your professional obligations and your client's expectations. Developing systems for warranty administration is also important if you have warranty obligations on projects. When clients report problems during warranty periods, respond promptly and document your actions thoroughly. Your warranty response often becomes evidence of your professional standards if future claims develop. Don't assume that professional liability insurance or commercial liability coverage automatically handles all potential exposures. Insurance policies contain specific exclusions, notice requirements, and coverage limitations. Understanding these terms is important for effective risk management. I recommend reviewing your insurance coverage annually with your insurance broker or agent who specializes in your kind of professional practice. Ensure that policy limits align with your project exposure levels and your client requirements. Understand deductible amounts, reporting requirements, and coverage exclusions for the kind of insurance coverage that you have. For projects with significant exposure potential, consider purchasing extended reporting period endorsements or project-specific insurance. These kinds of coverage go beyond the policy expiration date and also provide more than your typical practice or commercial operations policy do. These provide protection when statutes of repose create extended liability periods. Maintaining relationships with qualified construction attorneys throughout your career, rather than only when problems arise, helps you keep current with the evolving legal requirements and liability trends. We help you see over the horizon to understand the kind of risks that are coming and help you prepare for them before they arrive. If you're an architect or engineer or a construction professional concerned about protecting your projects from construction defect claims, the time to act is before problems develop. These issues become significantly more costly, more complex, and expensive once litigation starts. Call our office today to discuss with us your particular issues. We'll review your current risk management approach and help you develop stronger legal protections for your professional construction practice. And if you want to understand how contract disputes can create even greater risks than defect claims, watch this next video. I'll show you the warning signs that indicate your next project may be headed for costly litigation before construction even starts. Contract issues often lay the groundwork for defect claims later, so recognizing these early indicators can help you avoid both types of legal challenges.